Hi and welcome to the HerBusiness podcast. I'm your host, Susie Daphnis, and I'm excited for today's conversation because I've got a special guest, and whether you're a leader inside your business, growing a team, whether you're growing your influence, or if you're showing up more and more as the face of your brand, your online presence matters. And for many of us, LinkedIn is still the most underutilized tool available. So today I'm being joined by Saunders, who is an internationally recognized LinkedIn strategist, and she works mostly with service-based business owners, helping them go from just showing up on LinkedIn to actually using it purposefully. Why? To build trust, to grow visibility, and ultimately to drive sales and impact. And Jo and I met at a conference 10 years ago. We've been in each other's orbit, and I was so happy that we could sit down and talk about what does it mean to lead with influence on LinkedIn, especially in a time when the algorithm is changing, when AI content is everywhere, and when people are craving more human, authentic connection, even on professional platforms like LinkedIn. So whether your LinkedIn profile has been collecting dust or you're already very active, but you want to be more intentional, this episode is great because it's got really practical ideas. There's a great freebie that Jo is making available that allows you to health check your LinkedIn profile. And there's some mindset shifts, especially around permission to show up as the leader you already are. Now, this juicy episode is packed with, as I said, actionable tips, especially if LinkedIn has felt like a bit of a mystery to you right now. So let's go ahead and dive in. Hey, Jo, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to talk about LinkedIn with you. We were just talking before we started recording about how we've been in each other's orbits. We were at a conference together probably over 10 years ago now. But you've continued to be, like for me, a guiding light on, how to use LinkedIn. And I'm so excited to have you share your message with the listeners of the show. So here we go. I've got lots of questions for you. Is that okay?
Excellent. Bring it on. Love questions.
All right. So you help mostly service-based business owners turn LinkedIn from something that's kind of, I randomly post here, to a strategic way to make sales of their products and services. So not just a place for them to show up, but a place that actually can feed their business and lead people to the products that they want to sell. Can you talk to us about the shift in that way of using LinkedIn rather than, I just need to show up because that's where I need to be, to I'm strategically here because I want to sell my products and services?
Yeah. Well, I guess with the evolution, particularly around AI and some of the algorithm changes that have come in recently, it's actually one of the things that's come up for a lot of people is everything's gone down. Their views are down, their profile views, their post views are down. Content's not getting as much visibility because the user base is going up and the content generation is going up as well. So it's just become more competitive. So you've got to get a little bit smarter. And what people don't want is to be sold to. Those sort of sales strategies that are very, buy my stuff, and very promotionally. People are just over that. It's almost advertorial. And I think we're also over AI generated content because you can smell that a mile away. So it's really about being human in a professional network, but appropriately human, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, I do want to know more about that. And I will circle back to it. So remind me if I don't. I just read a post from someone I know this morning and I was like, I know that was AI because it has the same sort of cadence in the way it puts the words together. And like, even if you're going to use it, my thought is, well, just clean it up and make it sound more like you. My partner always says, just throw in a few typos and they'll know it's from you, Susie. Thank you very much. So I do want to circle back to what it means to be more human. And we don't, they don't want to be sold to, but we're still trying to sell something. So how do we bridge that gap? So inside of HerBusiness, we talk a lot about converting people who come into our world, who connect with us, including on social media, and that we find a way to transition into actually asking for the sale. So what is the LinkedIn equivalent of presenting a compelling offer? And how should we approach that if people don't want us to be salesy?
Well, it's I guess nothing's really changed. It's how we connect and how we, I guess, build trust. And for the most part, trust is built through, I suppose, being the good old know, like, and trust.
Yes.
So you have to be known, so you have to be seen, but it's about being on brand and being on message. And even for myself, last year, I did a bit of testing and I took a little bit of a back seat in terms of my content, and I mixed it up because I talk about a few different things, and I've confused the algorithm. I've confused LinkedIn and my numbers have gone down. So it's about being really clear about why you're on LinkedIn, because you're not there to make friends. You're there to sell something.
Yeah.
But selling through being of service, selling through educational content, through being helpful, sharing your IP, and nothing's changed. I mean, that's always been the thing, but it's become really important now because of the algorithm change. Because LinkedIn is constantly with this new, it's called 360 Brew. The name doesn't matter; it's just what they've called it. And it actually, what it's doing is, and look at anybody listening, look at your own feed and have a look at this in action. But it's trying to serve up content that it thinks you're interested in, but also what you talk about. So you might be seeing content from people you're not even connected to around topics you're interested in. And it's changing on the fly. So if you start talking about something else that's not related to your business, you're going to get the wrong feed or the wrong content in your feed, and your content might be served up to the wrong people. So it's about knowing why you're there in the first place, knowing what you want to achieve, knowing what you're selling to whom, and then engaging with those people, sharing content that those types of people are going to, find useful, and being very useful so that people save that content, they consume it, not just fly by it. And going back to the whole AI that you just said, if it smells like AI, people aren't going to read it. And if it's structured in that way where there's a gap between every line and there's an emoji and all those little drop arrows, it just looks very AI, and people will move on.
Yeah, interesting. So I want to go back to the point you made about talking about different things. So say we work primarily with leaders of small businesses, helping them be better leaders, bring on the right people, systemize procedures, create sustainable businesses. So if I'm talking about that one day and then the next day I'm sharing a story about my dog but trying to make it relevant to business, am I throwing off the algorithm?
Possibly, yes, unless that's because and this has always been the case, but it's just become more algorithm driven now. I mean, yeah, use the story of your dog as a metaphor for what you're about, but make sure that those words are infused into the story, so it's really clear about what you're actually talking about. Because you could use a visual to represent something, but you need to be aligning it a lot more closely than before, just so it's really clear. I mean, I talk a lot about pools and the aquatic industry. Don't work in it. It's a personal interest. It's a side project. I published the Perth Pool Guide a couple of years ago. I set out a quest to swim in every Perth public pool and review them. Just a side project. It came up in a speaking gig, and I did that. Now, it's got nothing to do with LinkedIn, but I could use pool references as metaphors for LinkedIn about diving in and whatever. But if I go off on a tangent and just talk about the aquatic industry, it's confusing. And I did that a little bit last year. And
this is where
evidence is in the results.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Great distinction. I want to circle back to asking for the sale. So we're posting content, it's relevant to our audience, we use metaphors, whatever, if we're talking about other things, and we bring it back. Do we not ask for the sale? Do we move people off onto a different platform? How do we actually say, buy my thing, without obviously having that be the lead?
Yeah, it's still a tricky one because people need to know where to go. And for me, the objective of LinkedIn is to get people off LinkedIn, get them into a phone call, a meeting, off to your website, whatever it is. Now, one of the things you can do is, obviously send people to a link on your webpage. It might be book a place at your upcoming event, your webinar, book a discovery call, whatever it is. But if you're doing it all the time, that's going to not land well. So it's doing it every so many posts, but doing it in a softer way, but giving people direction. Now, the thing not to do, and I've always said this, and it drives me nuts that people do this, comment in, linking first comment. And you don't need to do that because, LinkedIn, there's always some argument about, any social media platform penalizing external links.
Yes.
Because, they want you on the platform. And LinkedIn have not said this directly, but I've seen, from research from other people, there's been evidence that you're not going to penalize if you do it in a respectful way, and there's enough educational or informational content within that post, not just I've got a webinar coming up, buy my stuff, or, book, my book's coming out, buy it here. Because there's no value in that content. But if you're including an excerpt from your book or something that you're covering in that webinar, or that service delivers, or you're sharing a problem that you're solving, and it's almost like by the way, here's the link. So it's doing it in a softer way, but directing them where to go. So that's through your content. But you've also got your profile, and there are certain places that I call your sales hotspots, like using the featured section of your profile wisely. Like in the featured, you might have your lead magnet, or your opt-in, your health check, your whatever it is that you're promoting at the moment, having that there so it's top and center. The services area is another area where you can directly sell your stuff. And feel free to look at my profile. So I updated it last year and put there's 3 images that are my 3 core services, and then the blurb matches that, and there's a link, and there's the link in your content info at the top of your profile. So there's certain places you can put it, so that when people are curious and they click on your profile, there's some sales direction kind of places.
This wasn't on the list of questions. I said you ahead of time. Do you recommend premium for business owners, and why? Well,
yes and no. Now, no initially. If you're not using LinkedIn at all, no, don't buy premium, because it's like a gym membership. And I already got a very expensive piece of equipment, that Wahoo bike that sits and costs you $6,000, and you don't use it. Don't do that. But you're going to get to a point where, with the free platform, where you're going to hit the limit. Now, the biggest reason to upgrade is if you're doing a lot of proactive outreach and connecting, you're going to hit the commercial search limit, because there's only a certain number of profiles you can view. I can't tell you the number. They don't let you know this. And I've never actually bothered counting, but you'll know when you hit it. It resets every calendar month. So if it's the end of the month, don't worry. But some of the other benefits that are becoming a lot more prominent now are things like on a profile off to the side, it will say featured premium members. So they're getting a lot more visibility. But once again, if you're not using LinkedIn actively and you haven't updated your profile for a while, it's not going to fix your problem. But it's something you might look at later. And also, just another side one, you've got that little gold badge that goes on your profile. Now, what does that matter? I mean, you can choose to turn it off, but it says you take yourself seriously. It says you're investing in yourself. So it does have a level of, credibility in itself.
Authority and credibility, just because you've got the gold badge, and that gold badge is because you're premium.
Yeah.
So you understand. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Got it. You talk about something called connectfluence, and that is the art of connecting for influence. So talk to us about that and how connection becomes a pathway to selling more products and services.
Yeah. Well, it's something I came up with. I mean, I've been known as a LinkedIn specialist for a long time, probably about 15 years now. And I was part of a mastermind group, and I was looking for a word to explain what I did outside of LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is just a vehicle for what I do. And then I just said, it's about connecting for influence, connectfluence, right? Oh, that's the word. So of course, I trademarked it, and that became the name of my methodology. But it's personal connection for professional influence is how I kind of badge it, because people connect to people. We connect to each other. You build a level of likability and trust with a person. And that builds influence, which comes from how you interact, the content you share, that sort of thing. And then the influence is where, I guess, the conversion or the sale is made. So you need that connection first. But I'm actually studying positive psychology at the moment. Fantastic course, really, really good. But it's about connecting to yourself first and getting really clear about who you are. Because if you don't really know, like, what your values are, your strengths and all that sort of stuff, how you're going to represent yourself, and how can you be authentic for people to then connect to you? So almost giving yourself permission to be your true self in a, obviously, moderated, professional manner that matches your brand, and not trying to be like a clone of the next whoever. Yeah, because you see that way too often.
You do. You see it on all the platforms, and it annoys me. I was going to swear, but I won't. It annoys me.
Like, you can see some of these, I guess, leading authorities, and it depends where you are in your journey, I suppose. I mean, in the early days, I was constantly looking at what other people are doing in my space. And then only in the last few years, I've just stopped. I don't really, it's not that I don't care. I mean, I've got a lot of colleagues who do LinkedIn strategy and training as and that they're actually my friends and colleagues now. We learn from each other, but I'm not constantly looking at what that person's doing and trying to keep up with them. I just do what I do best, and the stuff I don't do, I know awesome people to refer to. Like I don't link to advertising. That's a very niche area.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think advertising itself is very different. So I know people that do, so I can refer. So it's having your own level of insight so that you can be your true self and not try and be everything to everybody.
Yeah. Really, really great advice. You gave us some good clues about some of the hotspots that might not be the exact term you use. What are the mistakes we're typically making on our profiles and in our content, other than saying, buy my thing, where are we missing opportunities to either generate leads or get people connecting with us?
Well, I guess one of them is the way that the profile's written. Well, if it's written in third person, so if it's written about you, it's almost like taking a step back. It's much better to write it from your perspective, which I know is difficult, because to say, I'm Jo Saunders, I'm a LinkedIn specialist.
I'm awesome.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's uncomfortable to do that, but I guess you got to find your voice and do it in a way that feels right. Now, one of the things I always say to people, if you don't like calling yourself something, like some people might say, oh yeah, speak to Jo, she's a LinkedIn guru. I would never say that about myself. I just don't, But where you can use these terms, you might say, you might be thinking you need a LinkedIn guru, but what you need is a LinkedIn strategist, because this, and this. So you're using the words in a conversational manner. Now it used to be that I'd always say use these keywords to be found, but with the algorithm update, it's more about your profile matching the content you're talking about. So some of these keywords don't become a little bit less relevant, but it's more in that conversational piece. So people get a sense of who you are, that because when you see people saying, oh, I'm a number one in this, and I'm the leading blah, because straight away you're inviting people to compare you to other people. And, it's really about working out, is that person really someone to help? And one thing I'm actually doing at the moment is rewriting I've got this piece of content that I recommend everybody in business write. For mine, it's the LinkedIn expert checklist. And I've defined what a LinkedIn expert should be, or in my opinion. And of course, I tick all those boxes for myself. But what I go through, and I'm updating it to match just the changes. But I also list the experts I recommend, who you might think, well, they're my competitors. Well, they're not, because we all serve different people. They're people I trust and people I recommend. And that type of content's great. I mean, it's great for being found, but also it's great for shareability.
I was going to say they're going to share it. And like you said, you don't do advertising. You're not going to. So why not support that person, and they'll in turn support you?
Yeah, so it's about aligning yourself with like-minded people, and then having that content on your profile, but just being really authentic about what you do and clear about what you don't do. And
not trying to be all things to all people is what you said. Yeah.
Pretty much, which is why, quite a while ago now, I published Get Good or Get Off, a guide to getting it right in social media, which is all about being strategic about your social media and choosing what you want to do and what you're not going to do. Because for some people, some platforms are no longer relevant, or their audience is not there. So why even bother with it? I mean, for me, Facebook, I don't love Facebook for business.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. Oh, my gosh, we could talk about that for an hour. I had a dream last night. You just reminded me. I had a dream last night that I got off Twitter. I haven't used Twitter for 10 years more, but I still have like 12,000, 20,000, I don't know how many connections there. But I'm like, why am I even on there? Like, I should just get off. And then I went, well, is it hurting anybody? But you just remind me of that.
Same. I haven't used Twitter or X for a long time. I've not logged in. I don't use it.
You don't like Facebook for business?
No, it's just too hard. It's too hard, I think, to get visibility. I mean, there's too much noise, and the notifications, I miss half of them. I use it personally. I use it mainly to see what gigs are coming up in my area, what events are coming up, what sporting events. I mean, that's what I'm using Facebook for. And every now and again, I'll use it for research through my community. I'm relaunching something. So I was just planting seeds and gauging interest and getting insights. But to actually use it to promote, I think it's challenging unless you've got a really strong active group, I think. But
Yeah, strong active group. And I mean, very few people have really active pages. I have a couple of colleagues who have really strong pages. Yeah, but for most of us, I think it's a back end thing. Like, our members have their own group, or when we do a pop-up group for a course or something we're doing, that's a little bit different. What do you see as the biggest untapped opportunities for women entrepreneurs when it comes to LinkedIn, whether it's messaging or storytelling or group interaction or...
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's a really good question. Probably the thing I see lacking the most is, people focus on their profile. They focus on having a content strategy, and it may be, and if you're using AI, just really, like as we mentioned, rethink that and just make sure it's your own content, because less is more with LinkedIn. You don't need to put a lot of content out there. But I think the untapped, and this hasn't changed, I've always said this, is the engagement piece. Engaging strategically with your target market, like the people that you want to sell to, rather than just, connect, I call it pitch slapping. I love it. You've probably seen it where people send you a connection request, and the next thing you get is a pitch.
It's almost, I know, I just want to jump through the computer. And
I don't know who that's working for, but if, it's one of the steps in between inviting them to something or asking for something, taking the time to actually engage with them. So slowing it down. We've only got so many hours in the day, but if you work out who those important people are that you want to build a relationship with, and they are posting or they're engaging, and you can see that from their profile activity. Have a look at their comments, have a look at their posts, and strategically engage. Do it authentically, though. Don't just come in and hijack and, I've got a blog on this, here's a link, or I've got an event coming up, because people won't like that either. But just genuine conversation like you would in a networking event in person, and introducing people and the things that we do naturally.
There's circling back to the being more human, right? Because we've got this technology. Well, no, but we still go off track, I think, because some new technology comes along. It's AI, it can create, 10 blog posts in 10 seconds, less. And so off we go. We think, more time for me. But, are we losing the connection, which is what you're trying to do in the first place. You're trying to make those connections. Yeah.
And I guess that sort of links into the looking at who you're already connected to. I mean, when was the last time you touched base with someone and just did a check-in? How are you going? Using things like audio messaging. I use audio messaging a lot. WhatsApp actually, different platform for different reasons, but taking it into LinkedIn and using audio messaging. And
can you use audio in LinkedIn? I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, direct messaging. You just go on your phone and then record a message.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got it.
It's quick and easy, and you can't outsource that. You can't automate that. I don't believe. Not tried, but if you're doing it through the app. But it's quick and easy, and use it as a test to see if people actually listen, because some people don't like audio, and that you'll work out quickly who those people are.
If that's the case, yeah.
But there's that. But also, with content, the third one with content is linking back to what I said before, creating content that's actually valuable, having these signature pieces that people will save and share and refer to. So thinking about, what do your target market really need to know? What's something of value to them? And think about how you use LinkedIn. What do you see and what do you save and what engages you? And for me, I love infographics not those detailed ones, more the models. The strategy circle, I think they're called. I love their content. They're in Europe. There's a lot of models, and they're just high value, and the text unpacks the model, and it might link to something, and they're selling membership to a program, but they're constantly sharing useful content that is, that I want to see.
Well, look them up, and if I can find them, I'll put the links inside of the show notes. In a minute, I want to ask you a couple of things about your year and what's coming up for you, but tell us, how do you work with clients? How can people use your services, Jo?
Yeah. Well, I work with individuals and organizations. So it's either individual mentoring, and it might start, and it always starts with a profile review, working out where people are going, and then working out what their needs are. One-on-one, it's often done virtually, which I always say is a benefit because it can be recorded and we can screen share and that sort of stuff. And then I work with organizations. So sometimes it's doing in-person training. Sometimes it's national training done virtually, and it might be a multi-part program. So they're the main ways I work. Profile reviews, speaking at conferences, and things like that.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to put a link to Jo's details inside of the show notes. Jo, inside of Her Business, we have deemed 2026 the year of leverage. So helping women do more with less. And obviously platforms like LinkedIn can help us do more with less, connect with people, reach people, stay connected to them. How do you see you leveraging more in your business this year? Is there anything that you would like, here's the way I'd like to leverage?
Yeah, I think last year was almost me hibernating because I went fairly quiet on socials, doing a little bit of quiet testing and also working out, is this still what I want to do when I grow up? Not that I'm planning on growing up anytime soon. How do I combine things? But I realised I'm known for LinkedIn. It's the thing that you still relate me to, but it's more leveraging, I suppose, my interest in people's behaviour. What's stopping them, what's getting in their way, the mindset behind it, making things easier. So, and something I'm bringing back, which goes back to community, is I used to run LinkedIn Local over here. So LinkedIn Local has become this global movement. It started in Australia in 2017. We were, I think I set up the 6th group, and LinkedIn have now sort of taken ownership. So I'm relaunching it, but with a slightly different name because I'm not doing it under LinkedIn Local Perth. I'm doing it under my own steam because I miss that community piece.
Well, tell us what that is, because we've got some members in Perth who'd probably love to come along. Is it an in-person thing?
Yeah, it will be, but I'm also going to be launching the online as well, which is something I've been launching this for a good year, I reckon, and I just haven't quite got there because it wasn't quite clear as to where it fit in. So it's all sort of coming together now, but it's called LinkedIn Demystified. The events, because really it's about demystifying LinkedIn.
Great. Well, do let us know when you've got those details, because I'd really love to share it. Our tagline here on the show is your business, your rules. And I'd love to know, when you hear that, what does that mean to you, and how does your business or your offers reflect that?
Well, your business, your rules. I think it's going back to working out what you want in your life and your business and how your business serves your life. So for me, I mean, business and life are together.
Right.
And
me too.
For me, it's about being myself and doing what I really love, which is what, like I said, I've been finding that, and permission to express yourself in the way you want. I mean, I wear a colourful Converse. I've got 30-odd pairs of Converse. It's almost part of my brand. My hair's usually a bright colour. This is pretty moderate for me. But I don't apologise for who I am, and I'm not for everybody. So if you don't want the colourful, creative, curious person who's going to ask a lot of questions, I'm not for you. So I think it's her business, your business, your rules. It's about you being yourself, but giving yourself permission to be yourself and not trying to fit into a box that's not you.
I love that. And you've sort of made that point a couple of times through today's session. So I get how important that is to you, and I totally resonate. And I know it's also not easy. And I love that you've had this time of reflection over the last year, deciding who you want to be when you grow up without growing up. And I too have been in that, because it's easy to be influenced by others and feel that we have to show up a certain way in order to be credible, in order to get people to like us, in order to stand apart from our competition. But like you, I keep thinking more and more, it's exhausting doing it that way. But if we can just come to be who we are. I mean, if I think about the people that I admire the most and that I follow, they are just so authentically themselves, which is, in their messiness or not, or in their OCD-ness, whatever it is, they're just being truly themselves, and they show up like that everywhere. They don't have a persona for here and then a persona for there. They're pretty much, who they are, maybe, in some cases with the expletives and without them, depending on where they are. But they're truly themselves.
When you see people who swear and it doesn't feel like it's their brand, or they do swear a lot and they don't. I mean, I think of years ago, Gary Vee. So Gary Vee is he's very colourful, but his content on LinkedIn was edited and there was no expletives in there. And I just thought it was still him, but it was just edited. It just felt inauthentic. It's like, just be you. Stop editing yourself for the platform, because if people don't like it, they'll opt out. They're not for you. This is many years ago he did that, but I just think, just do you and give yourself permission to turn up. If you want to wear sparklies, numbers. I mean, I wear tulle and sparkly stuff and I dress like a 13-year-old half the time, but, going to a party, I dress for the party I want to be at, the event I want to be at.
I love it. I love it. This has been such a joy. I'm so glad we got to do this. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
Well, if anybody's looking at their LinkedIn right now and thinking, well, it's a little bit embarrassing or they're not really sure where to start, I've got a LinkedIn health check that they can take that just steps you through, and it gives you what I call the essentials and the extras. The essentials are things to work on first. The extras are, the nice to have. Because you don't have to do it all. You don't have to be it all. But because it's so visible in Google and AI now, and it's a credibility piece, have a look. Feel free to use that as a tool to just reference where you're at and, bridge those gaps so that when you show up, you're showing up in line with your other marketing that you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you so much for making that available to us. We're going to put a link to that in our show notes, and in just a couple of minutes, I'll let you know the URL for that so that you can go grab that. I'm definitely going to do it. It is probably my weakest platform, but I know a lot of our ideal clients are there. And this year, we're definitely making more of an effort to show up in a different way on LinkedIn, rather than how I think we've been showing up, but not as authentically as I think we could have. So I'm excited to start with the health check, get your feedback and move from there. Thank you, Joe. I hope you enjoyed Joe's tips. What I love about Joe's approach is that it's not about becoming someone else online. It's about becoming more of who you really are and using LinkedIn strategically as a platform. And as the leader of your business, you are already influencing every day in conversations, in the decisions you're making, in how you're showing up for your team and your clients. And LinkedIn simply gives you a way to do that more visibly, more consistently, strategically. So whether you are building trust with potential new clients, or you are nurturing people who might refer you business, or you're just trying to attract aligned opportunities, LinkedIn is a platform that allows you to do that, and you don't have to be salesy doing it. So if today's episode resonated with you like it did with me, take a moment to check out Joe's free LinkedIn health check. It's a really great starting point to audit your profile and ensure that you're showing up in the way that really serves you. You're going to find a link to that health check over on our show notes page. And that is at herbusiness.com/347 is where you'll find a link to that freebie. You'll also find Joe's LinkedIn profile there, her website, and the different ways that you can work with her. And if you know another woman in business who who could be showing up better on LinkedIn, then be sure to forward this episode to her. It's free, it's available. She can, listen to it on the go. Someone who's been listening on the go is Kaye of Styling Individuals. She's a longtime member of HerBusiness, and she helps women really elevate their look. She's done that in New York, in Italy, in Victoria where she lives, but she works with women both online and in person. And she is really, if you are looking to feel more confident in the way you look, then you want to check out Kaye's website. I'll put a link to it in our show notes as well. But why am I mentioning her? Because she listened to episode 330, which was called Why White Space is the Secret to Getting Unstuck in Business. And she left this message. She said, I love the sound of white space, clean, open, and available to listen to what could be said and created. I will take that with me this week. And yes, that's episode 330. If you haven't listened to that one, do. It's really about how do you create more white space in your calendar. And that white space is the environment, the condition that you create so that you can think clearly as a leader. If you enjoyed this episode or any episode of our show, I would love it if you left us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, or sent us a direct message on Instagram. And the reason I ask, and I know that every podcast host asks, is that when someone is looking for a new show to listen to and they see a whole lot of glowing ratings and reviews, that is what we call social proof. And that makes it more likely that someone will listen to. So if you want to do that, we would love that. You can direct message me on Instagram if you don't want to post publicly, and you will find us at HerBusiness on Instagram. If you don't already follow us there, we are posting almost daily different tips and strategies. So click the follow, subscribe, whatever the button is called these days, there. And also, if you're a first-time listener, be sure to follow the show because we've got new episodes coming out all the time, including our new Ask Susie episodes where I answer your questions. So what was happening was I was getting a lot of questions from members that I just didn't have a place to answer where more people could actually benefit from that answer. So we decided every few episodes of the Her Business podcast, I'm going to do an Ask Susie episode. So you can submit a question and I can answer it anonymously, meaning I don't have to mention you, or I can give you a plug at the same time. If you want to submit a question, you can either direct message us on our Instagram account or you can use the live chat on our website at herbusiness.com. Until next time, remember, the tagline for this show is your business, your rules. My invitation to you is to lead in a way that is true to you, whether that's how you show up on LinkedIn, and thanks again to Joe for being my guest, or however you are leading, to let the world see the brilliant woman behind the brand, behind the leader that you are. So see you back here soon, right here on the Her Business podcast. Bye for now.